Hi, everyone. My name is Tom Ancona, and I'm an Associate Director with the McKeen Center for the Common Good. And thank you for viewing our Winter Break Community Engagement Program info session for 2025 and 2026. It's great to have you here. Today, I'm going to talk through a few different parts of the Winter Break Community Engagement Program. Our agenda today is that I will discuss what the program is, how you can consider applying for the program, how you can prepare for the experience, and how you can prepare for the application itself. If you have any questions, feel free to grab some time with me via the email scheduler in my email or on the McKeen Center website, or just reach out via email. All right. So the Winter Break Community Engagement Program is a program where students can complete 50 hours of volunteering with any local nonprofit or municipal organization over winter break. This organization can be local here in Brunswick. It can be in your home community. If you are living internationally, it can be international, or it can be a virtual experience. With the Winter Break Community Engagement Program, we want you to reflect on reciprocity and the impact of community engagement. You will have 50 hours of volunteering, and at the end of that time, we'll expect that you do a reflection activity in order to receive the stipend for the program. And lastly, you will receive a $750 stipend for writing and submitting the reflection materials at the end of your winter break. All right. Why should you participate? First, this is a short-term commitment. It's a Bowdoin winter break is a very weird time where it's a longer winter break, almost a month, but it's also can be short enough that it makes it challenging to get a job over break. So this opportunity fits nicely in that time period. It's also an opportunity for you to create an experience tailored to your interests and goals, whether that's going back to an organization where you've worked before, or maybe trying things out with an organization that you've been interested in but haven't had the time to do that. You also receive funding for participating in this program and completing the reflection. So it's a great way to earn a little bit of money over winter break. And then it's good preparation for summer internships and summer fellowships. So you can find either a topic area or an organization that you might be interested in for future summer fellowships and try something out with them. If you are accepted into the program, the process will be as follows. You'll submit the Winter Break Community Engagement Program letter before you depart campus for winter break. Over the winter break, so between the last week of December and January 18th, you'll complete 50 hours with your community partner of choice. Over that time, you'll also submit a mid-winter break check-in survey, which is usually in the first week of January. Then you'll document your work with a photograph and with the planned reflection materials. And lastly, you'll submit a final reflection essay and other materials, which will be due right when you return from winter break in 2026. And usually within a week or two of submitting those materials at the end of winter break, you'll receive the Winter Break Community Engagement Program stipend. All right. Eligibility to apply. Any student who receives Bowdoin financial aid is eligible to apply for the Winter Break Community Engagement Program. If there are more requests than there is funding available, the selection committee, which is staff here in the McKeen Center, may consider other factors, including whether students have received the funding previously and the strength of the case made in the application. In most past years of the program, we've had enough funding for almost every student that applied, but I will say that last year in the 2024-2025 year, we had a major increase in applications and we were not able to fund every student who applied. International students who are F1 visa holders are eligible to volunteer, but they should reach out to Dean Danielle Hussey with any questions about their status and eligibility, especially if there are any questions about their status at all. All right. If you've participated before, there's great news. You are still eligible to apply. This year, we've added a question to the application for students who received funds in previous years and want to apply again. So all returning participants would have to answer the question, how will this year's winter break experience build off your past experience in this program or other past community engagement experience through the McKeen Center or otherwise? If you are applying with the same organization as in a previous year, Please note any leadership or other new or opportunities offered to you by your planned host organization this year. This way, we can get a judge of what you are bringing to this experience this year compared to in previous years, and that should help us review your application. Additionally, for returning applications, those folks will be considered at the application deadline. So after November 21st, not as part of the rolling admissions process. So you can still apply earlier on in the process, but we will save your application until we know exactly how many applicants we have. All right, you must be wondering how you apply. So you're completing the first thing right now, which is attending or watching a recording of the info session. So once you've watched this info session, you'll answer the questions that come up after it, and then you'll be all set to go on there. If you've already attended a past info session, you don't need to watch again, and you can log off at this point. The second thing you'll do is to start your partner search. So now is a great time to search for and reach out to potential community partners for you to work with. You'll need to secure a confirmation from an organization that you'll work with them for 50 hours over winter break, and you need that confirmation before you apply. In terms of applying, the application is now open and live on the McKeen Center website, and it's due by November 21st at 12 p.m. Using the link in this PowerPoint. For that application, you'll need your personal information, you'll need your community partner information, including confirmation that they'll host you for this experience, and the statement of interest. And we'll talk about those pieces a little bit further on. Lastly, decisions will be accepted on a rolling basis starting on November 7th, and the deadline to apply will be 11/21 unless stipend funds are fully committed before then. All right, the statement of interest is the biggest part of the application in terms of what you need to write, and this is 1 page or less, single-spaced, and you just need to hit on the following topics. Why have you chosen this organization for your project? How do you plan to volunteer with the organization during your 50-hour commitment? So describing the type of work that you anticipate doing and have talked over with your organization. What do you hope to learn from this experience? We want to know how you are going to grow from this experience and what impact this experience is going to have on you. And then how do you plan to bring your experience back to the Bowdoin community? Is there a way that this experience can benefit not just you, but the greater Bowdoin community as well? All right, now the biggest question students have is how to secure a placement. Some things to consider for a winter break placement, and I'll talk about these more in depth. For just 4 questions here. First, where do you want to do the project? Second, what do you want to work on? Third, how are you already connected? And fourth, what makes sense over winter break? First thing to consider is geographic considerations. Where will you be over winter break? If you're going to be staying here in Brunswick and you can potentially apply for winter break housing, then a local organization here that you can walk to or easily bike to might be a great option. If you're going to be in your hometown, whether that's elsewhere in the US or international, you can look at an organization that's there. Another thing to think about is, do you want to do a project that's remote, in-person, or hybrid? If you want something that's in-person or hybrid, you're going to have to work with local organizations for wherever you're going to be. If you're more flexible and want something that's remote, then that opens up options all over the place for you. But it might be harder to secure something, and the work might be a little bit different as well. Lastly, one thing to think about is, can you leverage this connection into a longer term internship or a relationship? That may be easier for an in-person work experience over the break, and could be something in your hometown, or again, could be something here in Brunswick. What types of organizations can you work with? For this program, you can work with nonprofit organizations, you can work with municipal organizations, you can work with religious organizations, or you can work for a government office or for a government official. It just has to be a nonprofit in some capacity. All right, as you're considering who to work with, here's some things to think about. One is issue areas. Is there a certain topic or a type of organization that you want to work with? If there is, we've listed some here. Think about what types of organizations there are in the place that you're looking to work, or that you might target for a virtual internship, and start to do your outreach based on that. You may also want to consider your academic interests. So what is your major or minor, or anticipated major or minor? And what are classes that have changed your perspective on life? Things that you might want to dabble in more that maybe aren't your major or minor, but this opportunity will give you a way to dive deep on a topic that you haven't pursued before. And then lastly, think about your passion and your why. Think about your identity and your personal story. What are your dreams? What have you been involved with before and wanted to go in depth more on? That can definitely drive the decision as you're looking to search for different organizations. All right. One of the biggest ones for this is how are you already connected to organizations? Because this program has a pretty tight timeline for applying and it's in fall semester, it can be really helpful to think about organizations where you already have connections. So these could be organizations that you've worked with in the past before Bowdoin or while you've been at Bowdoin, either on a one-time basis or on an ongoing basis. This could be McKeen Center connections, taking a look at our past summer fellowship locations on our website and looking for opportunities, organizations there that might be a fit for you. Also thinking about connections through family, friends, and faculty. So if you're going to be here over the summer, reaching out to a faculty member that you know and asking about connections they might have in the community. If you're going home, talking to your family or talking to your friends about what are organizations that they've worked with where there might be a good volunteer opportunity over break. And then organizations that you've heard about but haven't had time to connect with. So again, this is great to do outreach, and you should definitely think about reaching out to multiple organizations as you're doing this. For local opportunities, if you're thinking about staying on campus over the break or live locally, we this year put out a request to local organizations to see if they had some possibilities. And so we'll be posting a little sheet on the McKeen Center Winter Break website that lists about a half dozen local opportunities. These are ones that you should feel free to check out, and you can just reach out to directly based on the contact info that'll be provided on that sheet. All right. One thing to consider as you're thinking about the organization and the type of work you're going to do this year is reciprocity. And reciprocity is the recognition, respect, and valuing of the knowledge, perspective, and resources that each partner contributes to the collaboration. So, this is a key value for the McKeen Center. We want you to be thinking about what your organization is putting into you over the course of over the winter break. So, the type of the designing of the work for you, whatever training they have to do for you, and all the things that they're contributing to you to make this a success for you and for them. And then we want you to think about what you're able to provide over winter break. What will be the work that you'll be able to do? What's realistic for you to do in the 50 hours that you have and how that is spread out over the course of the winter break. So it's important to think about this, and especially to express your gratitude to the organization for what they're going to be putting in for you. When we talk about centering reciprocity and making it a mutually beneficial relationship, we're talking about valuing and maximizing all the stakeholders in that collaboration. All right. So communicating with community partners about the opportunity. So as you're reaching out to organization, I definitely recommend reaching out by both email and by phone. I know phone can be a little bit hard, but it is definitely can be the most efficient way to reach out to an organization and get a response. So in terms of tone, you want to be collegial and deferential and short and snappy. So don't need to write an essay for each of your outreaches or leave a very long message for each of your phone calls. But it's good to get to the point. Definitely do your homework and your legwork on the organization. So you want to know a little bit about the organization and the type of work that they do. And also be understanding and recognize that they may not want short-term help. A lot of organizations may be closed over the holidays and may be more limited in terms of their ability to take on volunteering. So just be prepared that some of them may say no, and it's not a judgment on you in any way. If this is a cold outreach, so to an organization you don't know before, your ask will vary based on their volunteer procedures. You can, of course, fill out a volunteering form if they have it on their website, but I find it's good to follow up on that with an email or phone call in pretty short order. Um, and definitely be flexible in terms of your outreach. It's good to to say something along the lines of, here's who I am. I'm really interested in your organization and the work you do. Here's the type of skills that I bring. is there an opportunity for me to work with you and plug in? And what would that opportunity be? And if you're shopping for specialized needs, so if there's a really specific type of organization or highly specialized work you're looking to do, you want to act fast and have a couple backup options that you're also reaching out to. Some further communication tips, we've got some sample emails listed on the website. That's a template to think about how you can reach out. But some information to include in the initial communication is just a little bit about you, why you're interested in working with the organization, and what you think you might like to do there. But I'd always, again, leave the door open for what they need. Give them sort of the timeline, the number of hours, and any other relevant requirements from our side. And then mention that there's funding available from Bowdoin if you complete the work and submit a reflection. If your participation hinges on receiving this funding, you should be upfront about that you'll need an acceptance from us before you decide to participate. And lastly, include your contact information. All right. One other thing to think about with this is it's okay to reach out to multiple organizations around the same time. You have a very small window in order to secure something from an organization. So it's really good for you to think about what that looks like and reach out to multiple organizations, but just be transparent with the organizations that you're reaching out to other organizations. And that may help you get a response quicker as well. Lastly, what does the confirmation from a community partner look like? This is basically just an email from the community partner saying that they've have accepted you to volunteer with their organization, a brief description of the type of work that you're doing, and confirming that you'll be able to work the 50 hours with them. All right. Again, as I said at the beginning, if you have any questions about the program, feel free to send me an email or feel free to sign up for office hours with me. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this. And if you do have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. It's been a real pleasure talking to you. Thank you.